viewers, there are hundreds of you out there. I want to encourage you to give to the New Democracy Coalition. Go to the bostonmountaintop.org page. Your contributions help us do youth leadership work around the legacy of Dr. King and the legacy of John Lewis as we continue to work towards a beloved community. As we come to our final guest, we must acknowledge that we sit tonight amongst a real giant. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. once described lawyer and activist Fred Gray as, quote, the brilliant young Negro who later became the chief counsel for the protest movement, the modern civil rights movement. Let me say that again. Dr. King said of Attorney Gray, he was the brilliant young Negro who later became the chief counsel for the protest movement. Gray provided legal advice to Rosa Parks, King's Montgomery Improvement Association, the local branch and state conference of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, and the Montgomery Progressive Democratic Association. Born on the 14th of December, 1930, in Montgomery, Alabama, Attorney Gray was ordained a Christian minister as a teenager, and following high school, he received a BS degree from Alabama State College for Negroes in 1951, and an LLB from Case Western Reserve University in Cleveland, Ohio in 1954. Attorney Gray then returned to Montgomery to open his private law practice while also serving as a minister at the Holt Street Church of Christ. Gray recalled that he was anxious to return to Montgomery to, quote, destroy everything segregated. During the Montgomery boycott, Gray's leadership and legal counsel played a crucial role in the successful desegregation of the Montgomery buses. We welcome Attorney Minister Fred Gray to this program tonight, and we extend to him the Boston Mountaintop 2021 Award, and we extend to Attorney Gray the Governor's Citation for his good citizenship and for his receiving the Boston Mountaintop 2021 Award. Good evening, Mr. Gray.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peterson. And to the New Democracy Coalition of Massachusetts, thanks for inviting me to join you in your celebration of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Most of you never met him and didn't know him. I knew him personally, was his first lawyer, served as counsel for him almost daily for 382 days during the Montgomery bus boycott. And then he was tried for perjury in 1960. We were able to get an all-white jury in Montgomery, Alabama to get him not guilty. I think it was the greatest trial and case of his life. But thank you for inviting me to share this program with you. And I congratulate the other persons who are being honored here tonight. It isn't every day that a person is invited to Boston, Massachusetts, to participate in a program, but actually this is the second Zoom program that I have participated in from an institution in Boston on Tuesday that is involved with one of your community colleges. So I am honored, I'm appreciative, and I'm humble that you have seen fit to give me the Boston Mountaintop Award. When I was growing up as a youngster in the ghettos of Montgomery, Alabama, the cradle of the Confederacy, I never dreamed that I would be invited to speak to not to mention to receive an award for an organization in Boston, or you even get a chance to go or be to Boston. So I am very, very appreciative or honored. I am appreciative because this recognition comes on the 66th year of my practice of law, and come just a week or so after my 90th birthday. That practice of law during 66 years, for the most part, has been destroying everything segregated I could find in Alabama. And that struggle for equal justice has not ended. We still don't have equal justice. We still have too much racism in our communities. But I'm appreciative to you for this award. I am honored to have represented so many people. These people that you talk about, like Dr. King and Congressman Lewis and Mrs. Rosa Parks. They are real people. They're people that I had the privilege of representing. So when you give me an award, you really is giving an award to those persons. But those persons that I have mentioned to you, Dr. King, Mrs. Parks, Dr. and Congressman Lewis, are well known, and they've received a lot of commendations. So I accept this award tonight on behalf of those unknown civil rights clients of mine that I represented, like Claudette Carvin, the 15-year-old girl who did what Mrs. Rosa Parks did, but did it 9 months before, on March the 2nd, 1955, without any prodding and without any encouragement. She had been studying about constitutional law during Black History Month in February. And she decided she wasn't in the white section of the bus and she wouldn't get up. So I accepted on behalf of Claudette, who gave the mental courage to Dr. King and Rosa Parks and Joanne Robinson and Fred Gray and E.D. Nixon, those other men and women who started the Montgomery bus boycott. And that event, with 50,000 people staying off of the bus, motivated folks across the country and around the world that if they could do that in Montgomery, Alabama, for buses, then whatever our problems are, we will be able to do it. So I accepted on behalf of those 623 men in the infamous Tuskegee syphilis study, and all of the other men and women whose faces never appear on television, whose names never appear in print, but they are the ones who made it possible so that you can honor me and honor others like me. So then, as we accept this award on their behalf, we want to invite you to Tuskegee. We have a very good history museum, the Tuskegee Human and Civil Rights Multicultural Center. We now have about 3 generations who know nothing at all about hardcore segregation. You need to know about it. And that museum teaches and educates the people on it. So thank you very much for this award. Thank you for inviting me to share this occasion with you. And remember that this country still have two major problems: racism and inequality. It's up to us to solve it, but we need to solve it in a nonviolent manner, just as Martin Luther King did, and just as also Congressman Lewis did. Thank you, and continue to have a wonderful program. Can you?
It's on the internet.
They hear me?
They heard you.
As we continue to seek the beloved community, we recognize you and the work that you've done in terms of constructing American society and American democracy. We will indeed visit Tuskegee, the Airmen Museum, visit that historic city where Tuskegee University is located. Again, we thank you for your service. We thank you for your legacy, and we follow in the right path as we follow in your guidance and your knowledge and wisdom.